How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, and thanks for joining us as we get ready to discuss the NFL weekend. It is week 7, as we are almost halfway through the 2020 NFL season, and it's been a good one so far. Or at least I believe it has, even with all the beer flu distraction and really overreaction sometimes. But hey, we're still here, still got NFL football every Sunday, and really, other than just a few, you know, extra Monday night games and some rare Tuesday games, it hasn't been too bad. I think the only game that's been canceled so far or postponed has been the Titans Steelers game, and that actually helped us this week. It give us one more extra game this week to look forward to. And so let's dive right in. We're going to go ahead and start with Sunday night's game, actually, which got bumped. The Tampa Bay and Las Vegas game was actually supposed to be the Sunday night game, but due to a positive test from somebody on Las Vegas, it got bumped down. As of right now, the game is still supposed to take place. The Raiders Bucks game, that is, at 3:20 Eastern Standard Time, or yeah, or no, 4:20 Eastern, 3:20 Central. Uh, Pardon me for that, but and they've moved the Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals to the Sunday night game. So let's dive in with that one. Of course, Russell Wilson, MVP candidate. He has been lighting it up this year. 19 touchdowns, leads the NFL in touchdown passes, 3 touchdowns, 300 yards passing per game. Uh, Most definitely his best season in the NFL so far. DJ Metcalf and just really a great start to the 2020 season for him. And, the weapons around him. And then you've got the Arizona Cardinals, a bit of a surprise team at 4-2, especially getting the win over San Francisco in Week 1. They started, and then they got a win over the Washington football team. They started 2-0, lost a couple to go to 2-2, and now they've won 2 in a row, including just destroying Dallas last week. Kenyon Drake, running back, finally got it going a little bit. He had 164 yards last week, so that's not going to be easy this week as the Seahawks have one of the toughest. They have the seventh toughest rush defense in the NFL, so I really wouldn't look for Drake to be able to get that many against this Seattle defense, but Arizona is going to have to run the ball, but I would look for Kyler Murray to do most of the running, at least early. Now, if they're going to be successful, they're going to at least need Kenyon Drake to get about 60, 65, 70 yards, something like that. That's usually what it takes for him, for this offense to mean they're moving and they're being successful in this offense. Um, the only thing is, I just think Seattle is too good. They're 5-0 right now, and I think they'll move to 6-0. Arizona, they're on their way. They're definitely a team that's growing. They're getting more experienced, and you've got a young coach in Cliff Kingsbury. This is only his second year in the NFL. He's a young guy too. He hadn't spent much time as an assistant, so he hasn't been around the game much at all. He had all college experience before, so they're learning as they go, and it's been a tremendous start to the season. And I think really I would be more impressed. I mean, obviously, if Arizona could pull the upset, that would be very impressive. But if they could keep it a close game, 3.5, 4 quarters, I would say job well done. Because this Seattle team, in my opinion, is just a different beast, especially offensively with what Russell Wilson is doing. So I see Seattle winning at 31-21, 35-21, somewhere along those lines. I think there's just too much Russell Wilson and those two big physical receivers, especially with DK Metcalf. Um, I just think they're too good. And even as good as Arizona's safeties are, I just think too much power from Seattle. And their defense is too good, and I think they'll frustrate Murray a little bit, and they just won't be able to sustain enough to get the win over the Seahawks. All right, next up, let's go ahead and talk about the game that Seattle and Arizona replaced. Tampa Bay at Las Vegas. Both teams coming off big wins. Las Vegas, actually 2 weeks ago, handed the Chiefs their first loss since before they won the Super Bowl, going back to the 2019 regular season last year. They also picked off Patrick Mahomes for the first time. But I think they're going to get smacked back down to reality. Tampa Bay, after the GOAT messed up in Chicago, I knew they were going to bounce back. I just had a feeling they were going to bounce back last week against Green Bay and send the league and the rest of the NFC South a message, and they did. Tom Brady, which really they didn't even. They needed Tom Brady, but that defense and that running attack with Jones is just something else. And then you got Fournette to come in and give him gas when he needs it. Even if they didn't have Tom Brady, I think this team would still be very good. It just shows how special they can be if Tom is at somewhat to his best. And I think, Las Vegas pulled a huge upset at Kansas City a couple weeks ago. They had the bye to get rested up and healed up, but I just think Tampa Bay is riding off too much momentum. You don't whip an undefeated team like that and then go on the road. Now maybe if they were playing a team like the Ravens, something like that, or a more veteran team, but Las Vegas, they're young themselves, and I just think they're going to walk into a buzzsaw. Even coming off a big victory themselves, I know they're riding high, and that off week was probably good for them, but I just don't think it's going to be a good week for them, especially with that Buccaneers defense. And Derek Carr has played very well. He's done very well at taking care of the ball, but he's also been holding on to the ball longer. And Tampa Bay is one of the best defenses as far as getting pressure on the quarterback, sacking the quarterback. I think they have 20 sacks in the NFL so far, and Las Vegas has given up 8, or Carr's been sacked 8 times. That's not a good recipe for him. Now, if they can get Darren Waller, Henry Ruggs open on some fly routes, they could probably bust some big plays. But they're going to try to take away the pass game and make Josh Jacobs beat them. And with Tampa Bay having the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL, that's just not going to be an easy task for the Raiders' offensive line and Josh Jacobs. I just think Tampa Bay is too much talent, and too good of a team. I think they'll put the Raiders, knock them back down to reality a little bit. Las Vegas still has everything in front of them potentially, but I think they're going to get woke back up this week. I've got Tampa Bay 35, Las Vegas 21 in this one. And I'm not trying to put down Las Vegas. They've really had a very good season thus far. They've actually played one of the tougher schedules than anybody. But they still need more as far as weapons and talent to build around. And until they can match the talent, especially on defense of a team like Tampa Bay, they're going to be a touchdown or 2 off. All right, I'm going to quickly go over some other games. Let's see. We've got Detroit versus Atlanta. Atlanta's on a little bit of a streak here. I think I'm going to go with Atlanta over Detroit. Uh, Dallas versus Washington in the Toilet Bowl. Sorry, Washington, Dallas fans. You know it's the truth. There's always 2021. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Buffalo, I'm going to go with the Bills over the Jets. And then Saints over the Panthers. And we've got four more, but we'll touch on them before we do our game of the week. Next up, we have got the Chicago Bears versus the Los Angeles Rams. That'll be our Monday Night Football game. It's at Los Angeles, and to me, one of the most beautiful stadiums, if not the most beautiful stadium in the world. I just cannot get over that stadium. I'm sorry, I know that has nothing to do with the outcome of a football game, especially when there's no fans in it, but I would watch that game just to be able to look around at that stadium. It is just a truly a work of art. It really is. And so are the Bears defense, or so is the Bears defense, I believe. And now I think, of course, if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of Nick Foles and Matt Nagy actually making the choice to put him in over Mitch Trubisky. I think it might have been the choice that saved the Chicago season as far as keeping them in the race with Green Bay. And, you got two tough defenses coming in here. And, two very similar offenses, very similar quarterbacks. Goff and Foles remind me a lot of each other. I think Foles is what Goff should aspire to be, and I don't think Foles gets his due of how good of a quarterback he really is. Um, that being said, if there were actually fans in the stands, if there was actually a huge atmosphere with the Rams losing last week, I would say this could be a trap game for the Bears. I really would. Um, but when you take that crowd out of it and that atmosphere, I kind of think it can play against a team a little bit. Um, this game, it's really hard because when a team as good as Los Angeles is coming off of a loss, it is hard to pick against them twice in a row. But I really believe in this Bears team with Nick Foles and that vaunted defense. I really think it's one of the best defenses in the NFL. Um, so I think I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to go with Chicago to get the victory. I'm going to go with the Bears to get a 22-20 win over the Rams on Monday night. I think mainly because of Nick Foles. But I mean, it's really close and it's really hard. I don't do it. It's not an easy pick. I'll put it that way. Especially with the Rams coming off a loss to San Francisco last week, a division rivalry or a division rival, and the Bears kind of streaking like they are. So it's not an easy pick, but I do believe in the Bears and Nick Foles, and I think they'll get the win, 22-20, on Monday night to go to 6-1. All right, and of course our game of the week is going to be the Tennessee Titans at 5-0 against the 5-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. Kind of like last week, you've got a real similar matchup, if you ask me. I think Tennessee is a better version of the Browns, and Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. dominant defense. Ben Roethlisberger, you know what you're going to get out of Big Ben, and they've always got great receivers. Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, they're going to step up. They've always got a big tight end that's going to step up as well. But before we get to the game of the week, let's go ahead and knock out the other four games we haven't discussed real quick, which is we've got Cincinnati and Cleveland. I think Cleveland will get the season sweep over the Bengals. So I'll go with Cleveland. The Pack will get back on the winning ways. We'll take Green Bay over Houston. Then we've got San Francisco versus the Patriots. I think the Niners have finally grabbed themselves a little control. Jimmy G being back. So things are going to get a little rougher in New England. Dropping to 2-4. I've got the Niners over the Patriots. And then I've got the this is a tough one too. I'm going to go with the Chargers to get the win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now on to the our game of the week, the battle of the unbeatens here. This matchup's got two of the last three unbeaten teams in the NFL, so we'll either only have one unbeaten or we'll have two depending on how it goes in in Arizona later Sunday night. But what I mean by that, Tennessee is a better version of Cleveland is Pittsburgh. What Cleveland did best was run the ball and work Baker Mayfield off the play action pass and run, or they passed off the run, essentially. Well, Tennessee does that as well. And except Ryan Tannehill has been one of the best quarterbacks since he took over for Marcus Mariota last year in the NFL, statistically. So I actually think Ryan Tannehill is a better version of Baker Mayfield in that offense. That's where I think if Pittsburgh tries to run that same game plan or a similar game plan against Tennessee, Tennessee can hurt them. Especially with Ryan Tannehill's accuracy on the deep ball to A.J. Brown or to Davis or to any one of their weapons. So, plus it being in Tennessee, and if Ryan Tannehill can do that, it will open up the run game for King Henry to get rolling. A lot of people think him and Russell Wilson are neck and neck for the MVP. To me, as much as I love King Henry, Russell Wilson has been the head and shoulder running away with the MVP right now. But I do have to say, I think that could be where it opens up the Pittsburgh defense. If Tannehill can have success spreading them apart, if he can hit those open deep balls, which they should have man-to-man coverage if Pittsburgh plays the similar game plan they did against the Browns. But then again, Mike Tomlin and that Steelers staff, they know what they're doing. They're one of the best staffs in the NFL. There's a reason he's been their coach for going on, I think this is his 14th or 15th year as the Pittsburgh coach. So, but my hunch, my gut feeling tells me Pittsburgh is going to make a mistake in this game. And that Ryan Tannehill, he's just been playing so good, and it's really gone underappreciated. If you look at his stats, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the year. Nobody's really talking about him in the MVP race, which that's because you've got a beast like Derrick Henry running the ball. Now, I know Big Ben, I know James Conner, you know the Pittsburgh weapons, you know on defense you got Minka Fitzpatrick, um, but I'm going to go with the Titans to stay undefeated. I think they'll get the victory over the Steelers. I'm going to say 31-27. I think Pittsburgh is going to load up to stop Henry. Or if they don't load up, they're at least going to leave those guys in man coverage. Uh, and they're going to allow Ryan Tannehill to pick his spots. He's improved. He's got smarter as a quarterback than he was early on in Miami. And I think he's going to take advantage of it. And they're either going to let him torch them like that all day, or they're going to let it open up, and then Derrick Henry will have his way. I do think it'll be competitive. I think Pittsburgh and Big Ben are going to get theirs. But ultimately, I think Tennessee will be the better team tomorrow. And I think the Titans will move to 6-0 and give Pittsburgh their first loss of the 2020 season. All right, well, that's going to get us finished up here. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check back with us later on. We'll have our college review probably on Monday, and then our NFL review over the weekend on Tuesday. Like I said, probably after next week, we'll go through and look at how everything's shaking up. We'll have a mid-season look at how every team's doing in the NFL. Give them a grade on how everything's going for them. But either way, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you'd like to support the channel. We appreciate it. And until then, y'all take care. God bless. Peace.